Now, who says you're too old to play with toys? Well, not our guest today. He's carved out a unique niche online, using toys as his creative canvas with his smooth and captivating photos and stop-motion reels. He's caught the eye of toy lovers, top brands, and even superstar athletes and celebrities. Now, here to talk about the magic of toy photography and stop motion in general is Filipino-American creator Jax Navarro. He now joins us live via Zoom from Los Angeles, California in the USA. Good morning from Manila and good afternoon to you there, Jax. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this.
All right, Jax, first off, what got you started in all of this? Of course, stop motion photography, toy photography, and reliving and recreating iconic moments. What got you started in that?
Well, I brought a little friend here, and this is BB-8.
My
wife bought me this Star Wars droid back in Christmas 2015. And long story short, I started photographing BB-8, posted that on Instagram, and Instagram did its thing and started recommending posts to me that were similar to mine. And that's when I discovered the world of toy photography. And once I saw that there was a community doing this and it was a thing, I was just like, oh my gosh, I really need to get into this and try it out. So I've been hooked on ever since.
Yeah, Jax, I'm such a fan of your work. It's just amazing to me how intricate and it's so realistic. How long does it normally take you? Because I know with stop motion, it takes a long, long time. So can you walk us through your creative process from the concept to your final piece?
Yeah. So it always starts with the story and the concept, right? And if you know my work, normally I'm focused on sports and pop culture and kind of silly things and just kind of molding them together. But as far as the length of time it takes for me to create a stop motion, I would say that a good day, I'm creating 1 to 2 seconds in like a 10-hour day. So it's quite time consuming, but very rewarding at the end when you see what you've created.
Crazy.
Jax, we're seeing all these reels that are being shown on our screens right now. How do you decide on the themes or the scenes that you want to create? Do you plan everything in advance or do some ideas evolve as you work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always have a lot of ideas. So I have a list of cool things that I want to create. But what helps me to decide on what I want to work on is, what's current. So if you look at what I did in 2024, you showed some Mike Tyson stuff. Mike Tyson fought Jake Paul back in, I think, in November.
Yeah.
So a lot of, my focus was Mike Tyson, not just because he was current, but I was a big fan of Mike Tyson as a kid. So I really had a lot of fun just bringing those concepts to life.
Yeah, you talk about, obviously, your fandom for Mike Tyson, but then not only that, you've actually worked with a few celebrities from way back in the day, including a certain Kevin Garnett, for one of his stories, really, his tale with, if I'm not mistaken, Prince. How did that happen?
Yeah. Oh, man, that's a crazy story. So I'm a fan of Kevin Garnett's podcast called KG Certified.
Yeah.
And one day he told a story on his podcast about how he played basketball with Prince. And it was one of the funniest stories I've ever heard. And so I saw that on Instagram and I just basically commented, I really need to animate this story. And that comment alone got a lot of engagement, got a lot of likes, got a lot of responses from their fans saying, oh man, Jax, you really got to create something with this. And so within the hour, they sent me a message in my inbox, and we set up a meeting, and we were able to come up with an agreement to create a really cool stop motion for that.
And that took you 5 weeks, correct, Jax?
It did. It took me 5 weeks.
That's nuts. I mean, how was it working with Kevin Garnett?
Well, if you would have told me back in 2010, while I was watching my Lakers beat the Boston Celtics, that I'd be working with Kevin Garnett on a stop motion video, I think you're crazy. I mean, it's a dream come true. I mean, when you get into this kind of work, you do it for the love of it and just for the joy of it. And never did I imagine connecting with people that I respect, athletes that I grew up watching as a kid. So it was incredible. I mean, I didn't get to work with him directly, but his team was just so fun to work with. And, you know, they came up with some great ideas. I shot them some great ideas. It was just a fun collaboration.
You know what, Jax? We know that you also do a bit of voice acting in some of your works. I'm a voice actor myself. Maybe we can collab.
Here we go.
But,
and asking.
yeah, why not? But was that intentional? Was that intentional or out of necessity?
I would say both, but I always find an excuse to do voice work because I love acting, but I don't love being in front of the camera. I'm a little camera shy.
I can't tell.
You know, when I have the opportunity to do some voice work, I'm all over it. I love it. You know, you get to kind of just be somebody different and act a little wacky, so that's my thing.
Yeah, you know, you say you're not camera shy, but here you are on Philippine TV on camera.
Right? Looking so natural.
But Jax, all joking aside, obviously this has shot up your social media. I'm sure it has changed your life in a lot of profound ways. Just how has this whole following changed perhaps your career path, your life in general?
Oh man, I wouldn't be here, you know, without social media. Just to have a platform to share my work, and it's a free. You know, I'm not paying for it. You know, it's a free platform, and I'm posting my work, and people are reacting to it. And not only that, I get to connect with, you know, people like you that are across the world. And I've met so many great friends, and I got to quit my job, like you were saying. So it's been amazing, and I'm so blessed to have it. I know there's a dark side of social media, but it's been nothing but a blessing for me.
Now, Jax, for those who want to follow a similar career path as you, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah. You know, it goes without saying, you got to master your art, right? So you got to put in a lot of work. You got to put in a lot of hours. You got to grind it out. But the thing that has been a game changer for me is finding mentors. And you don't need to just find a mentor for the art itself to learn. That's always a good thing. But for me personally, I found mentors that helped me with myself and the business side of it. So find somebody that is 5 to 10 years ahead of you, that you want to be at 5-10 years from now. Yeah. So that's what I've done, and it's been a tremendous help for me.
All right, so when you talk about, you mentioned the mentors there, but then could you give us a hint of who your inspirations are in that animation space, in that voice acting space, in this whole storytelling space? Because I'm looking at it, I'm reminded of a lot of things. I mentioned an old movie back in the day, the whole Small Soldiers movie. I remember Robot Chicken as well, in the way that they do their things. What were your inspirations, and what did you try to emulate before making it your own?
Well, I'm currently working with one of the best stop-motion animators in the world. His name is Justin Rosh. I think I pronounced his last name right. But he's worked on, oh my gosh, so many films with Leica, and I've been able to work with him one-on-one this last year. So, God, you guys got to follow him for sure, Justin Rosh. He's been an incredible inspiration, and I'm just trying to get a little piece of his talent because he's just incredible.
You know what? The final product, we're looking at all these reels being shown on screen. They all look smooth and flawless, but as you've mentioned, stop motion really requires immense patience. Lots of it, right, Jax? I mean, 5 weeks, it takes you 5 weeks to finish one product. What are your biggest challenges in this field, and how do you overcome them? And also, my follow-up question to that is, what do you do to stay motivated and make sure that you don't feel burned out?
Those are great questions. The challenges. Honestly, I feel still pretty new to stop motion, so there's a lot of challenges that I have to overcome. But I would say the biggest hurdle for me currently is learning how to walk, like animating walking cycles. It's so hard to do. it's hard to explain why, but you know, if you were to record somebody walking, it's just like there's just like a flow, a smoothness to it. And I think when you're animating and you're off a little bit, it just really throws it off and makes them look robotic. So I'm still trying to learn that and master that. And you know, to overcome that, it's just practice. You know, just practice.
Now, you've worked with big brands, and like we mentioned earlier, you've worked with Kevin Garnett. Do you have somebody in mind that you want to work with moving forward? Do you have somebody like a dream collab?
I do. I have two. One is the Lakers. I'm a diehard Laker fan. As you can see behind me, I got Kobe up here.
Yeah.
I grew up loving the Lakers. So that would be definitely number one. But number two would be Manny Pacquiao.
Oh,
Pac-Man himself, I would love.
that would be a great.
So if you're watching Manny,
Yeah, that would be good.
That's funny because I was about to ask when are we going to see a Filipino-themed work from you, and maybe perhaps Manny Pacquiao could be that one guy. Of course, looking at your reels so far, are there any projects that you feel that you're most proud of? I'm sure you're proud of each and every one, but are there any pieces here that really hold a special place in your heart, and why?
yeah, that's a really tough question. That's like it's like who's your favorite kid?
But we have an answer to that, right?
I would say my recent Mike Tyson Punch-Out theme, because there's a lot of nostalgia there, and I've had that idea for a couple of years, and I didn't know how I was going to execute it, but I felt like I did really great, and it just brings me back to childhood. So I really love that piece and super proud of it.
You know, it's funny. I'm watching it right now. We're watching it right now, and it's very nostalgic for a set of people. I think my partners here trying to figure out what it references. It's a video game in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, right? So
Yes.
of course, made new. But at the same time, you mentioned a while ago, you quit your job, you went all in on this career path. And just what made you decide to take that leap? Because I could only imagine the anxiety that decision must have been like.
You know me well, man. I was in my career for close to 20 years, and back in 2019, I made an agreement with myself, and I told myself, "Hey, Jax, if you make as much money as on this as you did it in corporate, then you have to jump." And I think on the inside, I felt like it wasn't possible, and that's why I gave myself that, because, you know, I'm not a big risk taker. I like to play things safe. But in 2022, I signed one deal that was really close to what I made annually for my corporate job. So that was the year. That was the year I made the leap. Well, actually, 2023 is the year I made the leap.
Well, you made the leap. You're now a success. You're finding a bigger and bigger audience online. For those who want to know more about you and want to follow you, where can they find you online?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm all over social media. I'm on TikTok, Facebook. But if you really want to connect with me, I'm super active on Instagram, and my handle is @PlasticAction.
All right, so lahat ng mga handler ni Manny Pacquiao, kindly reach out to Plastic Action. Try to reach out to Jax Navarro because he wants to produce more Manny Pacquiao content. And who knows, maybe even Gilas Pilipinas, maybe other teams as well. Maraming salamat, Jax Navarro. Thank you very much for joining us all the way from LA, Filipino-American toy photographer and stop motion artist. Thank you very much again.
Thank you. Bye.